Understanding the importance of Freedom Day is something educators at SPARK Soweto have worked very hard towards teaching their scholars. It's been 28 years since the first democratic vote in South Africa. SPARK Soweto decided to teach their scholars about the importance of a free and fair election. Not only would this give the scholars hands-on learning lesson, but it would also add a little fun following the results. Now, let's discuss this. We're now joined via Zoom by Thobani Ndlovu, SPARK Soweto's acting principal. Mr. Ndlovu, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Perhaps let's start our interview here. What does Freedom Day symbolize and mean for you?
Thank you for having me, Onati. Freedom Day for me symbolizes us as a people having the opportunity to participate as citizens of a democratic country. So it's very important that we teach our young kids what that means to them and what their vote actually means, or what it will mean when they are older and they are voting. So we would want to instill these values while they're still young, so that they are able to continue to practice these democratic habits even when they are older.
I want to ask you again, what does it mean for you? Do you remember the first time you voted? What does that day symbolize for you?
Oh, for me personally. So in 1994, I was still a child. However, I was really looking forward to voting for the first time, because I do remember stories from my own parents who told me what it meant for them to not be able to have a vote. So as a young person in South Africa growing up, as a young Black person in South Africa growing up, that is something that I really looked forward to be able to say that I have participated in the decisions of the country and my voice has been heard.
Fantastic. Now, I mean, this program is fantastic, especially, I would imagine, for the learners. Talk to us about the importance of hosting such an event. I know that you want them to be experiencing it, but talk to us about what you also include in this experiential learning, if I can call it that.
Yeah, I love the word experiential learning, because the two most important ways that kids learn is, one is through experience and secondly through fun. So we've tried to make it as fun as possible, but this year we are partnering with the IEC to make sure that we are able to simulate as closely as possible what an actual election would look like, so the scholars could have that experience. So what we're including is it's going to be ballot papers, ballot boxes, which the IEC is helping us with, but we're also going to ink our scholars for the first time with the actual ink that is used in an election. So that's something that we know they're going to be excited about, because in previous years they've been quite disappointed at how quickly the markers have wiped off their fingers. So we're really looking at immersing our scholars in the experience of voting and having them participate fully as any other adults would if they were voting.
Talk to us about what will happen on that day. So the learners, I mean, these are very young learners also. These are primary school learners. So they come to school on that particular day. What are they likely to see?
So when they come to school, the previous day we would have already prepared placards with them, as we've done in the previous years, just to inspire their parents. As parents are driving in, we'll have kids standing with their placards, asking parents or pleading with parents to please speak to them about what it means to vote or their voting experiences. We're then going to have our Spark Fly, which is what we have every morning, where our scholars sing and dance. But what's going to be different this time is that we'll have officials from IEC who are going to be educating them on voting integrity and the whole process of what it's going to mean. We are then going to separate them into their grades, and they will line up as voters normally do. They will line up, go to the ballots, and what they're actually voting for on that day is whether on the 29th of April they would like to wear happy socks, do they want to wear funky sneakers, or do they want to wear funky hats, just as an addition to their uniform. So we wanted to teach them the value of voting, but also including an incentive that's going to excite them and have them look forward to the telling of the results and make them eager to find out what in fact they have voted for.
Now, of course, we just had the municipal elections not too long ago, and what was very stark about those was just the low voter turnout that we saw. In this education drive that you're trying to bring, what are some of the things that you're telling the young learners in terms of the symbolism of voting, and also how important it is not only for their future, but also for future generations?
So that's one of the reasons why we are doing this, because this year we want to inspire not just our young kids, but also their parents as well. Because when we did realize that there is a decline in voter turnout, particularly amongst the young people, we thought that, okay, so since we already have this initiative that we're doing every single year, if we then make it a bit bigger this year and partner with the IEC, we can then influence the parents as well so that they can see the value in voting. But what we want them to learn from the process as people who are going to be voting when they become adults and voting in democratic elections is we want them to know that their voice matters as South Africans, and that it is they are the ones who are going to be deciding what their future is going to be like by voting for whichever party that they choose. So we want them to know that they have autonomy and they have agency in deciding their own fate.
That is very important. And does this align then with your history lessons that you are perhaps having? Because a lot of the times, our education system has been criticized for not teaching young children enough about their own history, the South African history.
It is definitely related to what they're learning. If you are looking at what they're learning at the senior level from grade 4 to grade 7 at SPARK schools, it is about the history of South Africa, the importance within the subject social sciences. That's exactly what they're learning. But what we're trying to do with this is to then extend what is learned in the classroom to make it more practical and have them learn, as you said, experientially.
All right, Thobani Ndlovu, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Unai.